So students, so far we have learnt about uniform circular motion. Now uniform we have learnt only one sense, that is when its speed is constant, that is magnitude of velocity is constant. But in previous video we have learnt about angular displacement and angular velocity. Now in class 10 we learnt about that if the speed is constant then it is called uniform. So uniform means when speed is constant. But if angular velocity is constant, then it is also called uniform circular motion. It means if any particle while executing circular motion subtended same angle, that is equal angle at an equal interval of time, then it is also called uniform circular motion. So if speed is constant, that is one factor, and if the angular velocity is constant, it means if it creates, that is angular displacement by time. If an equal interval of time it subtended same angle at the center, then it is also called uniform acceleration motion. But you also know that it is an accelerated motion, since at each and every point the direction is keep changing towards center. So since it is accelerated means it must have some acceleration. And we already have learned in class 10 about centripetal force. It means any force which rotates, which makes any object to rotate in a circular path by acting perpendicular to the direction of the motion of the particle and acting towards the center along radius. This is called centripetal force. So since this is a force, so obviously there should have an acceleration. So uniform circular motion, since it is accelerated, so what is the name of the acceleration? Since we all know that under centripetal force, every object moves in a circular path. So if any object executes any circular motion, it's obviously under a force which is called centripetal force, and its property is that its direction is perpendicular to the direction of the velocity, and it acts towards the center along radius, that is inward, radially inward. So obviously the force is centripetal force. So the acceleration is called centripetal acceleration. So now we are going to find out the expression of centripetal acceleration. So suppose a particle of mass m is executing circular motion in anti-clockwise direction, as you can see in the diagram. O is its center. It starts with the point A. Clear? It starts its journey from point A. Okay. So initially, isn't it? Initially its velocity was 0, obviously. Suppose after a very small time interval t, it reaches at point B. Clear? So while moving from A to B, you can see it subtended an angle theta at the center, which is called angular displacement. So obviously angular velocity W is equal to omega. So if it is angular velocity, omega is equal to theta by t, we can write. Okay. Now if we look at point A, its velocity, its direction of velocity is along tangent, that is along AP. Clear? Whereas along AO, so its component, so its direction of velocity, you can see V, that is linear velocity, along AP, along tangent. But its component along AO, that is towards center, is 0, since it is perpendicular. AO is perpendicular to AP and it is moved direction along AP. So at point A, its component along AO is 0. While at point B, isn't it, we can see its direction of velocity is, isn't it, it's along BQ. Along BQ. Now, since it is the diagonal of a, we can assume it's the diagonal of a right angle triangle, so we can resolve it, divide it into two components. That is one component that is along BR, which is parallel to AP, which is nothing but V cos theta. This is theta. Theta is equal to theta, since Q may BR is equal to theta. So the component along BR, that is horizontal component BR, which is parallel to AP, is V cos theta, whereas the vertical component along BS, that is parallel to AO, is V sin theta. Clear? Now if theta is very small, it means if BO comes here, so obviously VR will come towards AP, isn't it? If the angle between this angle theta is very small, so OB will just superimpose. It means OB and OA will be similar lines. Similarly, BR will also superimpose on AP. So in that case, we can write now along AP initial velocity V1 is equal to V. Then final velocity V2 is equal to V cos theta. After assuming theta is very small, when OB will superimpose on OA and VR will superimpose on AP. Where isn't it? Just like this. It will move to here and here it will come. So V2 is equal to V cos theta. Now since we have assumed theta is very small, suppose 0. So cos 0 is equal to 1. So in that case V2 is equal to V. Initial velocity V, final velocity V. Then what is the acceleration? V2 minus V1 by T. Since both are V, V minus V is equal to 0. So it means you can see along AP there is no acceleration. Clear? There is no acceleration. Whereas along AO there is no centripetal acceleration, we can see. It means there is no existence of centripetal acceleration along AP. Now along AO, now V1 is equal to 0. Now V2 is equal to V sin theta. Okay. V sin theta since we have already found. Since theta is very small, theta 0, so sin 0 0, so V theta. Now acceleration is equal to Vt minus V1 by T. Now V2 is equal to V theta minus 0 is equal to V theta by T. Theta by T we already know that is angular velocity V omega. Now putting the value of the various values, V is equal to omega r, that is omega square r, or omega is equal to V by r, that is V square by r. So this is the expression of the acceleration, which is centripetal or centrifugal acceleration we can write. It is centripetal acceleration, not centrifugal, since it is acting towards along the radius, radially inward, and it is moving in the circular path. So the expression of centripetal acceleration is omega square r or V square by r. Now if we want to find out the centripetal force or centrifugal force, although we know that centrifugal force is imaginary force, I have prepared another video, you can go through that video. So centripetal or centrifugal force is equal to m mass into acceleration, so m omega square r, that is m V square by r. So the expression, mathematical expression or formula of centripetal force or centrifugal force is m V square r, m V square by r, or m omega square r. Clear? Centripetal force is just and imaginary force, what is magnitude is same, isn't it, as that of centripetal force. So this is the expression of centripetal acceleration and centripetal force, that is m omega square r, m V square by r. Now moves on to that is non-uniform, that is variable circular motion. Now the title of this chapter is uniform circular motion. Now what if the circular motion is not uniform? It means if the velocity is not uniform, isn't it? Velocity is not uniform, or the angular velocity is not constant. Then in that case what would happen? Now in case of uniform circular motion, we know, suppose speed is constant. Okay, so look at, try to notice the velocity of the rotation of my finger. It is moving with same velocity, it is uniform. Now what do you mean by non-uniform? That is variable, that is, it means if speed changes with time like this. At first it means it is keep changing, just like riding the car in a very crowded, that is in a very crowded place, isn't it? Sometime increasing, then decreasing, then increase the speed, increase, just like this. So what would happen in that case? Will the acceleration act towards the center, radially inward? Let's see. So when the particle executes circular motion but not uniform, that is with variable speed, so in that case it will possess two acceleration. One is tangential, that is the direction of motion, that is one acceleration towards along tangent, and one is radial, isn't it? Now tangential is change in linear velocity by radius, and radial acceleration, which we can say centripetal acceleration, that is V square by r. So now since you can see both the tangent and the radius are perpendicular to each other, it means they are at 90 degree. So if we, isn't it? So these two sides we have already learned, you have already gone through scalar and vector. So if we complete a parallelogram, so obviously the diagonal represents its resultant vector. So it means the diagonal through the two sides, that is A, which is called resultant, is equal to A square is equal to R square is equal to A square plus B square plus twice AB cos theta, isn't it? Twice A R square plus cos theta. Now here theta is equal to 0. Sorry, here theta is equal to 90 degree between, here theta is the angle between the two vectors, isn't it? So cos 90 is equal to 0. So A square is equal to A R square plus AT square. So the resultant acceleration is the square root of A R square plus AT square, which is also variable because both are variable. Since the speed is variable, circular motion, so tangential acceleration is variable, radial acceleration is variable. So since if two are variable, then how the resultant can be uniform? So it is also variable. Clear? So this is variable circular motion. Now, in class 10, we have discussed so many things, so much words about the centrifugal force. Is it a real force or it is not the reactionary force, that is opposite of centripetal force. I have already prepared a video on this topic. Please see my video. Okay. Now, so the question is, if centrifugal force is not the reactionary force of centripetal force, then what is the name of the centripetal force of the reactionary force? Because according to Newton's third law, each and every reaction has an equal opposite reaction. So if centripetal force exists, so obviously its reactionary force must exist. Yes, obviously exists, but it is not called centrifugal force. It is called centrifugal reaction. Why reaction? Name is given after. Okay. Now why centrifugal force is not? Because both act on the same bodies. Yeah, isn't it? Centrifugal centripetal force coming close to other. Okay, and then moving away. That is by pushing and pulling on the same object. Okay, nicely explained in that video. Now centrifugal reaction means, you can see. Now suppose, okay, we tied one end of a string of a finger or a stick and the other end with a stone, and if we rotate it in a circular path, isn't it? Then here, obviously, then here centripetal force, which is indicated by Fc, where O is the point of rotation, which is indicated here. Point O is the center of rotation. So here, obviously, we all know that here the stone rotates in the circular path under centripetal force. But where does it get? Isn't it? Where does it get the centripetal force? What is the source centripetal force? The tension. That must have some origin, some reservoir. That must have some supply source. So here the tension of the string, isn't it, supplies this necessary centripetal force to the stone for rotate in the circular path. So here Fc indicates centripetal force, which acts towards the center along radially inward direction, isn't it? Here the centripetal force, here center of rotation, exerts centripetal force on the stone. Clear? It means it is attracting, isn't it? So that's why the arrow is in this direction. Arrow is shown in this direction towards right side, that is radially inward. It means here centripetal force is applied by center of rotation on the stone. Here centripetal force, isn't it, is applied on the stone by the center of rotation. Centripetal acceleration is just the opposite, isn't it? It acts in the radially outward direction. It is exerted by the stone on the center of rotation. Is it clear? Centripetal force acts on the stone by the center of rotation, whereas the centrifugal reaction acts on the center of rotation by the stone. Now you can see these two forces are acting on two different objects, unlike centrifugal and centripetal forces. In centrifugal force, it is acting on the stone, so that's why it is just like it acts in the inward direction. And while it is escaping, it is also acting on the stone. So if two forces act on the same object, they cannot be action and reaction, because they have to act on same object onto different object. But here you can see centripetal force is acting on the stone, whereas reactionary force is acting on the point of rotation. So are not they acting on two different objects? So since both are not acting on the same object, that is on the stone, but on different objects, that is one centripetal force on stone by the point of rotation or by finger, and the centrifugal reaction is acted, okay, is applied on the pointer of rotation or finger on finger by stone. So that's why, okay, this is called reactionary force. So the question is, when we rotate a stone tying a string on our hand, so it is obviously that the centripetal force is acting on the stone. So which force was it? So which force? Name the force acting on our finger. It is authentic answer is centrifugal reaction. So centrifugal reaction is the reaction. So that's why centrifugal reaction is called the actual reactionary force of centripetal force. Okay.